it's okay to say, I don't really know. Let me get back to you. And that's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of someone who's really like willing to do their all.
It's the first time having two guests at the same time. I'm super excited to have Kelly Berger and Lindsay Plotke from Slam Moms. And I honestly don't even know. I think it was probably Instagram that we met. And Kelly, this is the first time you and I are talking, like, and like talking. And Lindsay, we've met pre-pandemic. So
Yes.
yeah, so I'm so happy to have you guys on because I feel like you have so much to share from your perspective as moms and military moms and coaches and trainers. So why don't you just give us a quick like down low on Slam and how you guys connected, and then we'll dive in.
Sure. Actually, Lindsay and I have such a cool story outside of Slam. Slam has definitely been what has connected us, but we actually met when I was 40 weeks pregnant with my firstborn at a mutual friend's wedding. Our husbands went to college together,
Oh
and
wow.
we both connected over the fact that we were both living in Columbus, Georgia at the time, and then we were moving to Savannah, Georgia. And so we were like, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll connect there. So we started walking when our babies were born, 10 weeks apart. And then we met at Slam Savannah. And we were there together for 2 years. Fast forward, I moved up to DC. And that was right when Alexa had made the decision to kind of branch it out into an affiliate process and decided to open. 2 months later, Lindsay permanently relocated to DC. Her husband transitioned out of active duty, and Lindsay's from the DC area. And so they came and were there. And then she's basically been a part of Slam DC.
Yay.
So, and then fast forward outside of the Slam, like we both have 3 kids, and all 3 of our kids are 10 weeks apart exactly.
I bow down to you both. I quit at Man to Man. You guys are on Zone, and I bow down to you. I bow down to you. And thank you you guys for your service and your family service as well. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, and then what does SLAM stand for so people that don't know?
SLAM stands for Sweat Like a Mother.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Which we do kind of even when we're not exercising.
Right. Kind of all encompassing, right? So
exactly. Awesome.
That, when we originally started, it was actually called Stroller Strong Moms because it was.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
It was geared towards, stroller age kids. And then it has been established, Slam overall has been established for 10 years. And so it used to be SSM. So us vintage folks used to call it SSM for Stroller Strong Moms.
Got it.
Slam Sweat Like a Mother was just the logo, like the,
right.
what we said, what's that tagline? And so then as we've evolved and, moms have kids that have grown up and we're like, wait, we sweat like a mother. Like that's us.
No
like you
matter what.
Yeah. You have to have a little one.
Yeah. And so just in September, we, as the whole organization has transitioned from Stroller Strong Moms to Slam Sweat Like a Mother to be more all encompassing.
That's awesome. Included. That's what I thought. I was like, wait a second, this has changed. I'm glad you clarified that because I've done the Google hunt and didn't put all that together. So awesome. Cool. So first question, with you guys both with your backgrounds as moms, like what were your expectations when you started kind of doing coaching and training in a group format? Like what was realistic in your expectations and what really wasn't?
I think that we initially went into our own postpartum fitness. We were younger, a little bit younger, right? We had babies at 26 and 27. So back then, we kind of went into, okay, well, we're just gonna, lose the baby weight. We're here to lose the baby weight. We're here to get moving, kind of high intensity.
Yeah.
And so once we started really working with bunches of different moms, we realized like we needed to slow the process down a little bit, take that time, work more on progressions. We kind of, we were in that mentality. Some OBs were saying, you can do everything that you previously have done, or others that were saying, you can only lift 25 pounds postpartum or when you're pregnant. Right. And there was this kind of conflict between the two, and we kind of had to establish where we were in the middle.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you have a lot of moms that were confused? They would come and try and clarify with you?
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily like they would be confused, and so then we were confused because, personally, I
Yeah.
got I got cleared from an OB at 2 weeks postpartum. Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, and to be fair, I actually I never had pelvic floor issues until my 3rd.
Yep.
So, I kind of it made us kind of go like, well, I feel like everyone's a little bit different.
Yeah.
One thing that Lindsay and I like our strengths are that we're very we have a lot of empathy and we love to learn. So as these new moms would walk in the door and say something like this is going on and we wouldn't know what it was, we were like, let's go look that up. Let's go
Right.
figure that out. And
Right.
never kind of like, sorry, like we don't want to know. Like we want to know about people and know what's going on. So it was, I don't, I don't know if we really had expectations and if they were realistic. It was just kind of like our expectation was really to give a safe community for moms. And I think as young trainers and young moms, it was more like community fun. And then as we've evolved into experienced moms and moms who've had our own pelvic floor issues, we've been like, okay, that looks
I
different.
love that. Yeah. And then have you noticed a difference because you guys have been military families and lived a lot of places? Do you find that there's geographic differences in how people are coming out and like with the 2-week clearance versus something a little bit later?
yeah, absolutely. In different parts of the country, like there are definitely different expectations and different levels of interest in
Mhm.
learning more, right? And kind of diving a little bit deeper. Like I know with our first and even our second babies, like pelvic floor physical therapy was not in the discussion at
Mhm.
all. Um,
No.
and this was 2012, 2015. Um,
Yeah.
well, not that long ago, right?
No,
But
it's not.
it's not. But then with our third babies, that was kind of like a reckoning for us. And we were both well, I was in the DC area, but Kelly was in Clarksville at the time when we were pregnant with our third babies. But we both had that kind of DC area mentality, and there's just so many resources here.
Yeah, no, we're
Um,
really lucky.
yeah,
But I share with people too, and I know I've talked to you guys about this as well. Like my kids are now 8 and 11. My oldest just turned 11 last week. And, this was my actual job. And there were so many things that, the advice that I would have given somebody else, it wasn't working, or things that I was told and expectations I was given. And so I
right.
share that with people because I'm like, this stuff is so new.
Yeah.
And it and people I feel really bad when moms are like, "Gosh, I wish I'd known," when they have a couple extra kids or something. I'm like, "No, no, no, this wasn't a thing." So I'm glad you bring that up, that you're like, "No, we were kinda good on our first and second, but there really wasn't anything to be said."
Yes. Yeah.
So and
And
I honestly think that social media, blessing and curse that it is, moms having access to information at 2 AM is hasn't it's a blessing and a curse, but, like, there can be some good things.
Yeah, and to go back to like the military point just a little bit is I do think that like the military experience I've had in the hospitals because we were at down in Tennessee was it is slightly a little bit behind or I was 34 when I had my third baby and just kind of like it takes longer but I
Right,
had the knowledge that I had and was like no this isn't normal like I know this
right,
isn't normal but then also having the knowledge of our insurance covers it and you
right.
just and so I was able to spread that because all I had a slam down in Clarksville and they were all military so it was so easy for me to say go to your doctor and your insurance will cover it like
Yep.
period like it is a thing and no one even knew it was covered and so
Right.
it's like it was really good for that for down there in that community because I knew what insurance we all have the same insurance.
Right, exactly. TRICARE, right?
Well, and so
Yeah.
it is covered, period.
Yep.
And then just making my own connections and being like, well, if you don't want to wait for the referral, talk to this person and she'll
Right.
come to your house and she'll do it there. And so it was like normalizing it and talking about it and experiencing it myself really like brought it to the community. And then, once you have a group of 20 women that know something, it
Yes.
trickles all out,
Well,
which is
and
a good thing.
Honestly, that's where I think, because DC area, it's very transient. We have a lot of military families, a lot of State Department families, and the communities are tight and connect really quickly. And I think that's one thing that you guys do really, really well is share resources and pay it forward and say, hey, if you're going here, this is who you need to connect with because you don't have time to search around and you need something that works quickly because you're not there long.
Right.
But I think the thing that we can all learn from military moms is that paying it forward, and you guys do that for your community. And I think especially now, I think that people are being more vocal about issues that they're having and not just like whispering about it, and they're
Right.
talking about it in and you guys are providing forums like Slam and people you can talk to that hopefully will continue to kind of keep that culture going where we pay it forward for our moms. So you guys just have a really nice example of that's bred into your culture. So
It really is such a difference of, just we make them feel welcome and more just like I want to be your friend and more like,
yep.
Lindsay and I are super open about what we have experienced. And when we're
Yes.
coaching, we talk about it and we normalize it. And
That makes such a difference for
it
people
really
to not feel like they're alone on that. Awesome. So both of you, you're coaches and trainers, and and full disclosure, we've worked together in the Real Mom's Guide to Postpartum Return to Run Pro Edition.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask here is kind of what's the most difficult challenge for you guys putting this in a group setting, because so many coaches and trainers work one-on-one or physios work one-on-one. How do you bring this to a group setting where you have some people that have been with you for a while, and then, like you said, some people that may have just kind of come in? Like, what are they asking for versus what do you kind of see that they need?
I think a huge thing is establishing communication with every mom that walks in your door. Like, we get to know you, we establish these relationships, and that is a huge help in working through challenges when it comes to the group dynamics, because yes, we are in a group setting and we'll, like, say, write a program, right, for a class. But because we know each of these moms, we know we can individualize, we can um,
Yeah.
talk more about, you know each person's individual situation, who's dealing with some mild prolapse, who's dealing with some lingering pubic symphysis pain, and we can have those conversations. We've got a really open dialogue.
That's
And I think,
awesome.
yeah, I think it's that can be a challenging part of a group dynamic. So it's so important to get that communication
From
down.
day one, you guys are like, we're open books.
Well,
That's awesome.
part of their sign up when they register for class, they register for their very first class, they get linked directly to a postpartum questionnaire. And we ask so many
Wow.
questions. And it's a Google survey, it comes
Yeah.
directly to us. And so not only do we have a quick glance at if they are having any issues, their first experience of us is normalizing it and saying, like, just talking about it. So if they ever do need to come to us, or maybe they don't want to come to us, but we in the back of our head know, and we can
Yep.
give them an adjustment to the side in a very welcoming, comforting way without calling them out for it, because that's kind of what women don't like, that when they're going, like, coming back postpartum is humbling,
Hard.
hard. Like, you don't want to be the one that's like, okay, Kelly, you need this, so go ahead and do
Yeah.
this. Like, they don't want it, And
Right.
so when you look at our classes now, you may have a class of 20 moms that are like, there's 5 different movements going on, and no
Right.
one feels like I'm the only one not doing it.
Oh my gosh, that is the dream. Like that literally, that's how you want it to be, is that it's established from the beginning. You can ask questions. We talk about this stuff. You'll get what you need. Like that's amazing. What typically is the lifespan of somebody within like a class? I mean, obviously people are moving, but
So we are very proud to say we've had some members for 7 years.
I love that. That's
We've been
amazing.
open, yeah, we've been open for 7 years. So we're very proud to say that, like,
Wow. I
we,
love that.
like, and like, I'm the owner that's been in and out, not around a lot. So kudos to Lindsay. Like, when we talk about the relationship building, like, it's there and they feel
Yeah.
welcome. And Yeah, we talk about the ways to take down, but we also talk about the ways to amp up. And so we do have some high level athletes that are continuing to get challenged in the ways they want. And
Yeah.
that's why they do keep progressing and they keep going. It's not just for that little bit of
The immediate
postpartum.
postpartum,
Yeah.
yeah. That's fantastic because, one thing that I do see, and you might hear this from your moms too, is that, you start with that initial, like, safe postpartum stuff, and they get stuck there, and then they'll have another kid, and then they start again, and then they kinda get stuck there, and then it's not until they're in, like, elementary school, the kids in elementary school, they're like, "Oh, well, I never really progressed from this." And in the meantime, they feel like they're weaker. They're not happy about their body and things like that, and they just get stuck. So to have a program that has progression and people can see that is fantastic. I love that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And
Yeah.
it's been outdoors and you guys have survived COVID. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yes. That part has been tough, but it's been so great to be,
I believe it.
to be able to continue. And yeah, just be able to be in a class and you do see that very pregnant mom working at regressing or dialing down
Yeah.
impact and kind of deloading.
Yep.
But then over here, you see the mom who is building strength because she's training for a marathon because she hasn't had a baby in 3 years.
That's so
And
cool.
we, yeah, it's a all
That's so awesome
encompassing
to see that
journey.
progression. So
Yeah.
cool. All right. So both of you are grads. You finished the Art of Our Pro course. And this is selfish because I want to hear too. Because we haven't talked about this. Like how was so the Art of Our Pro course was basically diving in and looking deeper at how we can get our moms back to running better. And it's for coaches and trainers and physios and so on. So how have you guys been able to take this information and kind of integrated it, and how has it impacted how you work with your moms?
So I think one thing that I so appreciated in R2R is uh, the need to establish kind of those baseline
Yeah.
movements, the return to run screen with impact, with
Yep.
balance, with strength. And those are like, I mean, that's kind of our bread and butter that we are run coaches. We're certified run coaches. But we are fitness trainers first, I think, or our first love. And so having so many moms just want to kind of be 6 weeks. I want to run. I want to go for a run.
Because it's easy and you can walk out the door and it doesn't,
Cool.
yeah,
And
especially in COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing we've learned over the years is for some reason, like running is a check mark for back in shape. We don't know
You
why.
know what? You're right. Even for moms that don't run.
Yes.
It's funny you say that. I never thought about that
Yes.
before.
It's like okay, I can run. I'm back in shape. I don't know why, but even if yeah, it's just a thing.
Okay.
And so we've always kind of been like, hold on, because as running coaches, we know how important the strength training is. So we're like, we always have said, slam makes you a better runner. And so we feel like what you gave in your course of the foundations and getting back to having that baseline, we were like, yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
No,
also,
it's funny you say that. It never occurred to me, but you're absolutely right. And I think also too, I mean, it's actually funny. So my office is right next to a CrossFit gym that I actually used to work out at, but a bunch of women that I used to work out with were running around the gym as I was walking to the office this morning. And inevitably, so many of these HIIT courses or HIIT classes and things like that, they'll throw in a little bit of running, just for that warm up. And the other thing they do is they throw in jumping jacks. Oh my gosh. Why do we start with jumping jacks?
Straight to jumpy jacks.
yeah. So actually, to go back to the question,
Yeah.
Lindsay, you could add on to this about how we now think about more so our warm up, because slam is a high impact class. And
Yes.
we love to throw in sprints and running, and we
Yep.
run from station to station around the park. And so, Lindsay, you can go more detail about like our actual warm up. We look at what we're teaching and we focus on that warming up for impact now.
Yeah, that was a huge takeaway, I think, from the course. Also, just like the importance of incorporating like that balance work into our warm ups.
Yep.
that prepping your system for doing runs, for doing impact work, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a huge part of our class. Adding in some of that mobility aspect as well,
Yep.
and just working into those movements, not just diving straight
I
in.
love that. That's the sign to me of a good, a well-prepared class. There's nothing worse than, and I don't care what kind of class it is, like if the warm-up is just a generic warm-up and it doesn't match what the programming is for that day,
Right,
you know that person just rolled out of bed and made something up and barely just looked at what was on the board before they started when they're
Yes.
coaching.
right,
I love that you guys do that prep because again, I think if we can prepare our moms, if we can do progressive training, we're not setting them up to fail.
yeah,
We're prepping the system. We're teaching it to relearn things. We're not setting them up to be like, up, can't do that. Up, can't do that.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
That's fantastic. And you guys did that completely independently. And you took that and you were able to integrate that into what you were already doing, which I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm bowing
yes.
down. Yay! That's so
And
awesome.
Go ahead.
another part of return to run that I've really appreciated and been able to work in is kind of you talk a lot about troubleshooting when things are not
Yes.
right. Um, Maybe you start to see some progression and something, but then maybe we get derailed, and that happens. Life, moms, just and so I
Yes.
think kind of working through some of those troubleshooting, and again, adding that one-on-one aspect to our group classes is just is super
That's so
important.
cool.
Yeah, we've actually also created since the course, we've created like an extra little component to our program where it's brand new and it still is kicking off, but it's they can schedule an appointment with either Lindsay or I and go through the assessment because
Oh,
and it's
cool.
they can choose to do it in person or virtually. And
Yeah.
so, if at night after the kids are bed works, then they hop on Zoom with me and do it, or they just meet after class with Lindsay and do it. And
Yeah.
that gives them that direct feedback of exactly what to
Yes.
do. So we're allowing them the opportunity of like, some people are like, I'm fine, I can figure it out in a group. But some people are like, no, I really want that one-on-one. And I just want
Wow.
like 10 minutes of your time and I just want to go through it. And so we've created that, developed that, and we're hoping it like really as people have more moms, because that's the other thing. A lot of our moms have had like 2, 3, 4 kids, and it's
Yes.
changing each kid.
Every
And
single
where
one. Yep.
knowledge is power, knowledge can also be fearful. So we don't want moms to go into the like fear zone of I'm afraid to work out. And
Yeah,
so that like giving them the opportunity to work one-on-one with us and just like being like, no, you're good, you're fine.
Yep.
Like, or okay, you're not ready for that, so let's do this until you're ready. um
That's a great point about how information can be helpful, but can also be fearful too. And you can't make that assumption that more information for somebody is always helpful. I see that a lot because the screen is kind of just out there for public use. People are like, "Oh no, I can't do this. What does that mean? Can I not run?"
right,
And I'm like, "No, that means you just got to work on that, and let's go ahead and get started." And
Right.
so
And it
right. It's
also
a
again,
big
may
tool.
not yeah, and also to flip that, just because you pass it may not necessarily mean like, okay,
yes,
let's go out and let's work at it. Like it's like,
yep,
okay, it's a baseline and then you move from there. And that was such a key,
exactly.
like it's not all or nothing, it's not go or stop. It's here's where we're at and
Yep,
let's go forward, and we're gonna go backward within it too. Like progress is not linear and we will go up and down, and talking about hormones and certain weeks may be harder than others, and
yeah.
that's normal. It will not continue to be this upward trend.
You guys are giving me the chills right now. Like this is like totally uncoached. Like I've never heard this. And I'm like that was the plan. That was the plan in doing this. And I'm like, my babies.
You created a great product,
No,
Carrie.
that
We
it,
did.
it
We love
no,
it.
it like no, I literally might cry here because like it's so hard right now when you see information come out. And just full credit to like the Grania Donnelly and Tom Goom and Emma Brockwell, who made some of the original guidelines that the screen is based on. And just they put this information out there for us to play and kind of kick it around, and we're learning a ton from it. But what I'm also seeing in the pro groups is that pros are now using it as like the Bible, like they're using it as thou shalt not, like the 10 commandments. Like
Yeah.
if you do not pass this, and the fact that you guys are like, no, 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 this is a guide. We use this in the context where and that to me is the intention of this information is there's so many variables, there's so many things we don't know, that to use it as a commandment, that's not the point, and that's not the definition of a guideline. So I'm so glad to like you guys have taken this and run with it and kind of just you're making it your own and making it work for your community. So I just
Well, props to you. We definitely heard you, listen, loved it, and it's fun to be able to use it and take our program to the next level.
That's awesome. Okay, so what is your biggest advice for coaches or trainers who want to specialize in working with postpartum women? And let's just say, they're working in a group setting. What have you guys taken away, and what's your best advice for them?
I'd say keep learning. These baseline certifications for either becoming a personal trainer or a run coach or group fitness instruction, like there is so much information lacking in female anatomy. Just basic female anatomy, even not even function or just like literal anatomy, right? So
Yeah.
I think can you know continuing to learn about your population and their needs is so huge. We are both, Kelly and I are both also pregnancy and postpartum athleticism coaches with women.
Yay, my favorite.
Yes,
I
yes.
love
Actually, I
Bree.
think how I originally steered towards you, Carrie. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's so cool.
So,
No, I love Bree. She's just like a great, just a great human and a great voice, and has made a wonderful impact on the community. I love working with her, and I love working for those coaches and trainers.
yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. How about you, Kelly?
Definitely, definitely keep learning, like, and realizing that you don't know everything, and it's okay to admit that. And as soon as you admit that, and just if someone walks in the door, first of all, you will never have the same person with the same issues walk in the door twice.
Never.
It will be like something and something else, or but it will all help you mold and learn and create. But it's okay to say, I don't really know, let me get back to you. And that's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of someone who's really like willing to do their all. And then just like being relatable and genuinely want people to do well. And
Yeah.
then you're like, if you want them to learn themselves and make the changes, then they will succeed, they will blossom, and they will just continue to thrive. And the ultimate goal, if you remember, go back to the ultimate goal, is for like have them live active, healthy lifestyles. And if
Absolutely.
you're achieving that goal, then you're achieving yours.
Oh, that's so good. You guys, again, like the tears are coming here. My heart's all warm and fuzzy now. Like, I have to say, I mean, you guys, like, to have your community, to have you guys have a resource that actually want to learn more to help them to keep progressing, even beyond kind of your own recoveries and things like that. Like that is just an absolute gift. And thank you for caring, and thank you for sharing and paying it forward, because, again, back when we had our little tiny babies the first time, this stuff wasn't there. And for you guys to have the courage to take your own journeys and step forward and pay it forward and learn and all that stuff, like this is how we're going to keep making change. It's from you guys in the grassroots, and continuing to spread that information and knowledge that comes down. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you guys do for moms, and so appreciate you guys coming on. If you want to learn more about SLAM and the SLAM community, we've got @SLAM, and there's some dots in there in DC. So you can check them out on Instagram. Lindsay and Kelly, thank you guys so much for joining me today. And again, thanks for all you guys do.
Thank you so much.